Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hollywood Hunter James comes to you live from the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and you are watching the Fans View podcast live and in living color. Hollywood has entered the podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fans View podcast. If you've been watching the independent scene, specifically in the Southeast, you've seen the confidence, you've seen the swagger, you've seen someone who walks to the ring like the cameras were built just for him. He calls himself Hollywood, and honestly, it fits. Today, we've got Hollywood Hunter James on the show. Hunter, how are you doing, brother? Welcome to the Fans View.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Another day, another dollar, right? That's what we're all striving for. Another day above ground.
I mean, that's what they say. And I don't know if it's always true in the world of indie wrestling, but that's where we are.
Fair enough. You know what, man? I want to start at the beginning because I think your story's pretty interesting. What was it like growing up for you? And, you know, when did the wrestling bug kind of bite you?
Out the womb. We are 8 wrestlers in this family now. I trained number 8 not too long ago. He's Jesse Cruz. He is 6 months in, but I've had a dad in the business. I've had a grandpa, 3 or 4 uncles. My mom did a little something, you know, like, and I mean, when I say a little something, I mean like a referee once or twice, but I'm counting it.
Fair enough.
Actually, you know, it bit me so early that it sparked the interest of Allison Lynn Miller, who just wrote a book about my family and our lineage and the state of Georgia wrestling through my eyes, and kind of meeting the contacts that I met from initially day one. I was still training, you know, in that training process right before I started pro wrestling. You know, Rough House is now out. It's been out for about a month. You know, the book's doing fantastic. And if you want, like, obviously I'm going to answer questions, but like to get more into detail and more insight on like my family and whatnot, Rough House available anywhere books can be sold.
I love it. And we'll make sure to put that the link down in the description when we drop this on YouTube for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, you said you were bitten. You were out of the womb. You were ready to grab a headlock. Who are some of the first wrestlers that made you say, like, I don't just want to watch this, I want to do this?
Yeah, I think the easy answers, especially from Georgia, is AJ Styles. Even the easier answer across the world is Shawn Michaels. But it was guys like Mr. Perfect, Dolph Ziggler. Those are like Randy Savage, Jay Lethal. So I always say I can't tell you who my number 1 is. I can tell you who my 1A, B, and C is, and that's Shawn, Dolph, and Perfect. They're all the 3, kind of like the same, cut from the same cloth, so to speak. You know, then I do Savage, and then like the problem is, then I go, well, I wouldn't know who Randy Savage was if I didn't know who Black Machismo Jay Lethal was. So that was my introduction because, you know, I'm younger, so Savage was done by the time like my memory of wrestling is. But my first memory of wrestling is AJ Styles and the Ultimate X taking, like, I vividly remember watching him take the drop kick from Petey Williams and go inside out and take that gnarly bump off Ultimate X. So like, and then CM Punk was the first guy talker. And then you have Piper because it was his influence. So I can do the cross-examination there.
I love it.
I don't know, like, when it comes to like, oh, who's your favorite? I'm like, oh God, it is literally the hardest question in the world. Like,
I appreciate it.
I can tell you 1A, 1B, 1C, and then I can tell you that it's got to be Savage. I take a lot of inspiration from Savage, and slash Jay Lethal for the athleticism, because they're the modern day versions. If you can't tell, I kind of like the more flamboyant professional wrestlers. You know, Perfect was the precursor to Shawn. Shawn was the precursor to Dolph. Savage was the precursor to Black Machismo. AJ and Punk were revolutionary for modern wrestling. Austin Aries is somebody I've stole a countless number of things from. He was the first person I saw do a brainbuster, which has been my finish from damn near day one. I've had like substitute finishes here and there, but the brainbuster, or the brainbuster as I call it, the 450 came from Austin Aries. I did a last chancery for a while. Like I eventually was like, okay, I need some other moves. I like other wrestlers. Dynamite Kid, Eddie Guerrero, Finn Balor, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle. Like, I know the Chris Benoit is the forbidden one, but get over it. Owen Hart. Like, I can keep going on, and it's usually I don't want to say semi-athletic because that's not the right word. It's almost like athleticism and charisma together. Yeah. Like, I like the mix of both. I like professional wrestling, sports entertainment. Like, I like the actual mix. Piper, another one for the brawling, and Terry Funk for the brawl. I can do this all day. Like, I think I just gave you my top 20 favorite wrestlers. I'm sure I'm missing. I'm sure I'm close to 20 at this point.
Well, I love it, man. I noticed you definitely have a type. It's definitely that mid-card workhorse style competitor that you seem to be drawn to. You know, at what point did the dream go to, like, oh no, I'm actually gonna go train?
I think realistically, I would go with, I was probably 14, and I have a cousin. His name is Chop Top Hoss Michaels, Sean Morrow, an outlaw. He's got a lot of gimmick names. I think he's going by Chop Top for the past couple years. He is the antithesis of me. He is very punk, redneck. Like, he's got a bunch of weird tats and the weird haircut and big long beard. Like, he's the antithesis of me. But he would bring me to shows, and we would help put up the ring because he was still young in the business as well, and I was helping put up rings because I wanted to get in the ring before the show. And he would show me a few things, and a lot of things did come easier for me athletically speaking. Doing moves, I think the hardest move I had done was, like, it took me probably a year to perfect a brainbuster because I was doing it wrong, and not unsafe. It just didn't look like a brainbuster. It just looked like a suplex. Right. But then, that was corrected, and now it's the move that I can pretty much look at a crowd and they start chanting it, especially at my home locations, if you will. But yeah, I would say probably about 14-ish. Like, I was like, no, this is, and I probably believed it before then, but those were like 13, 14 was probably that first step towards, like, oh no, this is going to happen, and nobody could have told me any differently.
Love it. Obviously you start training, and it's humbling for a lot of people. Was there a moment early on where that kind of started to weigh on you and like, maybe this isn't for me? And like, what kind of pushed you through that?
Never. The hardest. So this sound like my dad has said this, so like I'm going to steal his words. I don't know if it's necessarily true. The hardest thing ever for me was balancing amateur wrestling in high school / like a little bit of college, and then pro wrestling is trying to balance it. You've got tournaments and you've got shows, and I was leaving literally the first page in Rough House, spoiler alert, is he left Appalachia high school wrestling practice and went to professional wrestling training. Like, and I did this weekly, usually multiple times, and then later on, it became leaving high school wrestling practice, leaving high school wrestling practice, going to the Landmark Arena in Cornelia, Georgia. I trained 15 minutes from my house originally, and then now I'm driving an hour and 15 minutes, getting there right as training started. Granted, I got a lot of leeway because of my athleticism, and the way I knew how to convey a promo so early on. I'm not going to say they're great or good or whatever, but like I could get the point across. I wasn't stuttering. I knew how to get to point A to point B. So of course we would, they would do their normal training drills. I would do the cardio training drills with them. When they would learn, that's when I would probably take a step back and either be the bump guy and be like, hey, how do you take this bump? While the trainer was Azrael, or Slim J, or a handful of others would come, and Todd Sexton, to Kalen, would, okay, this is how we do this move. Hunter, come here. Here's a body slam. Hey, Hunter, did that hurt? Yeah, okay. All right, next. So, yeah, I never really felt the pressure. This is something I am stupidly dedicated. I mean, to the fact that And I know it because if we want to just take today as an example, and I would say for the past couple years, it's been different ways of getting to my trainings and whatnot. But like now I'm so strict over the past probably 6 months. I've been so strict on my schedule of like, I'm up at 5, I'm out the door at 6, I'm at the gym at 7, I leave at 7:15 from doing, I'm sorry, 8:15. I'm doing about 45 minutes of cardio plus some little stretches and some ab workouts, whatever. And then around lunchtime, I'm back at the gym doing a 45-minute to an hour lift. And then after work, I'm either doing cardio or I'm training in ring or I am getting like circuit training in for cardio. So, and in between there, like before I got on here, I did circuit training while my chicken was cooking in the oven. And I came down here.
The grind never stops.
The grind never stops. And, you know, so, and then there's some days where I am doing, you know, double cardio. Some days I'm tape studying while Cheyenne Michaels, you know, for, I guess, the previous podcast listeners, you know, my girlfriend she's packing her bag and I'm sitting here watching wrestling going, oh my God, I guess there's this and that and the other. And I can pick and pull. And she's like, didn't you watch this? I said, yes, but there's a different reason I'm watching it again. And she's like, she just sits there and like, and kudos to her. I mean, she puts up with all my craziness and like, my God, why are we up at 8 a.m. on Saturday? Well, we're going to have to drive 4.5 hours. We got to be there at 3. We still got to go to the gym. I got to shower. Like, you can stay. And she's like, no, I'll go. Like, I know there's no way she wants to go to the gym at 8 o'clock in the morning when we get home from whatever show at 2 in the morning. No.
Right.
But she puts up with it. So big kudos to her.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. When this airs, she'll have been last week's guest. So make sure you guys check out Cheyenne's interview as well. You know, something I wanted to touch on is Hollywood, because it's very interesting. A lot of people have that, like, you know, confident, cocky gimmick, but I feel like you pull it off in such a way that makes you stand out. You know, the name, the vibe, the confidence. When did Hollywood Hunter James kind of become the vision, and how much of that is you amplified, or is it just completely character driven?
So it happened in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at NWA. We were there for Crockett Cup 2023, I want to say.
Okay.
And I did a dark match. I had like an 8-man tag match. We had 5 minutes or 6 minutes. I think they even gave us 6 minutes. I think we even got lucky and got 6. Don't worry, we only went 4.5. And then I was put in charge of like making sure everybody stayed together. We did this match and I came to the back and Austin Idol had asked me, hey, can you talk? I would say, so yeah. I don't know. Yes. The answer is always yes.
Absolutely.
I can do it. Can you jump off a building? Yeah, I don't want to, but I will. I mean, if it gets me, I like money. You know, in the words of Vince McMahon, will it make me money? Will make me money.
That's it. So,
and I have a friend, his name is Judas. He walks by and he's kind of listening. Michael Judas, the man known as Frank, now on NWA. Big guy. Big gay. So Austin goes on this rant and he ends up going, we want to change your name, or I want to change your name to Gorgeous Georgie Graham. And I go, and before I could even get a word out, Judas goes, that's stupid. And just grab, pretty much like, come on, kid. And like, we walked and we went and got catering. We're sitting there, you know, got some praises throughout the day. And like, I was kind of in my little rant and I was like, oh, Gorgeous Georgie Graham. Like, what is this? Like, we're not in 82 anymore. Georgie, like, I mean, Graham, whatever, but like, why can't I be handsome Hunter James or Hollywood Hunter James? Light bulb went on. And right. I'm a huge Hollywood Blondes fan. They're top 5 favorite tag teams of all time, if not top 3. And so first thing I did is that, funny enough, I kind of had a Stunning Steve Austin jacket at the time with sleeves. It was technically the Fabulous ones. So I had a Fabs jacket and I was like, oh my God. So I run over there and I got some pictures and I did the Hollywood. So I'm right here and I'm doing the camera roll, you know, and I did lights and I'd point up and I did camera and I did action and, you know, and I just kept playing with it. And I got back and I was like, okay, so I can play on the Hollywood Blondes bit. I have the Stunning Steve Austin blonde hair, a little bit of facial hair. So I'm like, okay, I've got the Stunning Steve look. So I got something here. I'm a huge fan of the challenge on MTV. I love Johnny Bananas. He is the man. Like, I think he's the coolest, like, non-wrestling guy ever. Like, the way he plays the cast like a fiddle during that show, I'm like, that's me. Like, I was that guy in high school, and I would play my teammates like a fiddle, and I have no shame in my game. Like, I knew if I needed something done, I knew I needed to go to a specific person to do a specific job, and, you know, and let the domino effect unravel and see what happens. If it blows up, it blows up. It is what it is. So I was like, okay. So there's a lot of times I will like take his characteristics and like, so I grew my hair a little bit longer than what it was and kind of styled it differently to get his hair while I have the Stunning Steve hairstyle. Zach Morris is where like the actual inspiration came from. Huge Saved by the Bell fan.
Love it.
So I was like, okay, but a lot of people in wrestling is going to say Stunning Steve and say Zach Morris, you know, to whom's their own. So I started styling almost like Johnny Bananas, and I was like, okay, there's some, like I watched every season he was on just to see how he would carry himself around larger individuals during a challenge or smaller individuals during a challenge, how he would turn cockiness into confidence to just those little details, and how if I was a challenger, if my thing was I am an MTV challenge contestant and just happen to be a pro wrestler. Right. You just put me in a pro wrestling setting. That's what Hollywood almost, I think, is to me. There's little nuances, but like I see myself as this is like the MTV challenge, and I can I'm a real person with over the top personality, but I'm not a larger than life character. Like I'm not,
you know, not a caricature of anything.
Right. It's like people ask me, there's very few people that can see me flip the switch. A lot of people like see me out in public and they're like, oh, that's Hunter James. He's still walking like Hunter James does. You know, Hunter James is it's my real name. So it's on my license, but they don't know the difference between Hunter and Hunter James, because it's so similar. And don't get me wrong, when I'm in the confines of my house and it's a day off, if I ever get those, it's very much like, don't talk to me. Like but my energy is gone. Like, I'm not drinking an energy drink. I don't have coffee. I don't have this. I don't have that. But if it's show day, if it's work, if it's wrestling, training, whatever, skyrocket.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey guys, it's Aurora Tevez, and if you love pro wrestling, you need to check out the Fans View podcast. They don't just cover wrestling, they bring in guests from racing, MMA, comedy, and so much more. Make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
For sure. I love that. I love that explanation, too. It's a very grounded character that you can snap right into because it's pretty true to life, it seems like.
Absolutely.
You know, on the flip side of that, obviously, you're not just a gimmick. You know, you're like we talked about, you know, all of your idols and the people you looked up to were all workers, you know, workhorse kind of competitors. How would you describe your in-ring style to someone who's maybe never seen you work before?
Classic.
Okay.
I think classic wrestling, almost, a lot of people have said this, and I like the comparison. It's almost like when you watch the quote-unquote light heavyweight BCW, maybe 92, 93, where I'm not the lightning quick wrestler. I can be, but I'm not. From a realistic standpoint, when I think of a lightning fast wrestler, usually a fast kick is usually not as impactful. Mm-hmm. There's a moderate speed to it. Just like when you see a big guy throw a roundhouse kick, we'll use, I don't care. Luchasaurus, I don't care. Like, I care about getting in trouble. I don't care. But Luchasaurus, he does the tail whip, the roundhouse kick. You should be able to duck that. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're dazed and confused and everything else, but if it was just a case of it's you versus me, you are good to go. If I throw a really quick one, you'll flinch and I may whiff you. If I throw a really slow one, you'll duck it. But if there's that middle ground, that's where I am. I am a big proponent, like I said, Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler, Mr. Perfect, Macho Man. There's like most of these guys that I listed off didn't go 100 miles an hour. A lot of them were methodical with some athleticism. There was a way of presenting their athleticism I'm a really big, bump and sell guy, if you will. That's why those are 1A, 1B, 1C. With the athleticism, their bumping and selling was everything. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm the one guy in the locker room, more likely than not, that I'm going to go. First of all, I can take any bump in the world. And second of all, I can make that bump actually mean something. So a classic style. Right. So I am a big proponent. I love British pro wrestling. I do love Japanese wrestling to an extent. I'm not really familiar. Like, I would be hard pressed to say I like early 90s, early to mid 90s Japanese wrestling. The Mudas, whether you go Muda. I do like Tanahashi. He's probably like the one modern one. I know he's done, but like the one more modern character I like.
Right.
Liger, when WCW used to go over there and they would bring Stunning Steve and the Steiners, Pillman and X, Y, and Z over there. Sting, I loved it. Because I do think that hard-hitting style, there's a place for it. I think there's a place for everything in pro wrestling, even though it may not be my favorite.
Right.
But yeah, I would say that early to mid 90s WCW, light to middle, not like, I'm not saying like cruiserweight, but I would say that light heavyweight, your Johnny B. Bads, your Brian Pillmans. I love me some Johnny B. Bad. I know Macho Man is like considered a heavyweight, but he wasn't that big. Those I like. Stunning Steve. Stunning Steve was definitely a heavyweight, but I loved his style too. Rick Rude's, Perfects, Sean's. Like, there's this like I guess they're like 215 to like 240-ish. That right. Like, and which is funny because I fit that demographic as a pro wrestler. I'm right under 220. Right. So like, go figure. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, who would have thunk it?
Well, no, well, it's because most people don't think I'm actually that heavy because I guess I distribute pretty well.
Right.
When you see me in person, I don't look like that. When you see me on camera, I look way bigger. It's the greatest thing that can happen to me in pro wrestling is that I look bigger than I actually am. But I can step on a scale and it says 217, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 217? This is awesome. Like, dude, I'm bigger than your favorite wrestler right now in the Indies. Like, come on now.
Well, wrestling today isn't just about the matches. In 2026, it's about branding. How intentional are you with your image? And more so, how important is social media to kind of building that Hollywood persona?
So, social media is obviously everything in 2026. In the modern day, it's how we get over, it's how we represent ourselves. But it's not only the internet factor, it's the in-house experience, if you will.
Right.
How we treat fans at a show, post-show. How we treat fans at the merch table. Because that builds a following just as much. And
absolutely.
Because I have a specific example. There's a 12-year-old girl. She may be even a little younger. She doesn't have social media. But her name is Chloe. She is like the absolute biggest Hunter James fan. I know it because I see her almost at every show I go to. They specifically come to shows that I'm at way out of their way because her family, wants her to have a good time, and her good time is seeing her favorite wrestler wrestle. So, one, I'm not showing up to a show. I'm not going to look like I'm not Hunter James. Yes, I want to be in shorts and a cutoff t-shirt. But if I'm going to have a cutoff t-shirt on, it's going to have me on it.
Right.
If not, I'm probably going to show up in some decently nice clothes, or at least look like I'm ready to take pictures and not like I'm about to work out. And then on like social media, that's the art that always is changing because for the longest time, it was always post wrestling. And then it was probably last year when it hit me, I posted something that had nothing to do with wrestling and it blew up. And then it hit me. We don't care that Tom Brady's a quarterback. We want to see his kids. We want to see his wife. We want to see him play golf. And that's the stuff that blows up. So now I try to, and it's one of those that I've got to get better at. I think everybody can get better at everything. But where like, I just recently started to basically blog more or less, but it's more practice content for me just to see how I can edit stuff and how I can do this, coming up with some content ideas. And then like once a week, I want to post something, whether it's a quick reel or it may be a 5-minute video, and then I can cut it down to a minute and a half, post it on TikTok, YouTube, stuff like that.
Right.
Instagram, Facebook, like simple stuff of like, okay, what does Hollywood have in his bag? What does he always come within a show? What does he have? Right. What does he cook? Like I love cooking. So what am I cooking this week? It's more or less, it's less about the Hollywood factor because the Hollywood is just it's the eye catcher.
Mm-hmm.
It's people remember the name Hollywood before they'll remember Hunter James.
Right.
But they'll remember that blonde Hollywood guy. Because to me,
Absolutely.
I'm just that MTV, drama starter, if you will, like Johnny was, and that's what they remember. They remember those smart ass comments of, "Oh, you suck. Ah, you swallow." Like the quick reply, and they're like, "Ooh," and I'm like, I've said this the past 6 shows. You'd think somebody would catch it by now. Like, don't say it. I'm gonna say it back. But it's the real person that we care about, and because it's so close niche to me, and it's so close to my heart of who I really am, that's what I do on social media, and I'm making sure I do better and better at it. And that's why, like, I'll post stuff of me at the gym, because I do go to the gym a lot, and I love the gym, and I love cooking, and I love taking drives. I love going to the beach and visiting back home in Outer Banks. And, I don't get to do it enough, but like me and Cheyenne went for her birthday. It was absolutely beautiful. So I made sure I got videos of it. So now it's seeing how do I perceive things, and how do I get the fans to perceive it through my eyes?
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, to piggyback off that, that's why this podcast exists. And I want to use that kind of to segue, into my favorite 2 questions. It's the last questions I ask for a reason, because I want the last thing people see in this interview and hear to be, who is X, Y, and Z? Who is Hunter James outside of the ring? So that first question to you I'll pose is, outside of professional wrestling, what are you a fan of?
Outside of wrestling, I am a fan of hair bands. My favorite band of all time is Poison, but I love LA Guns. I love, what do they call it, Dad Rock? Your Shine Downs, your Buck Cherries. Bon Jovi's another hair band that I love. Those are probably my 5 favorite rock bands of all time. I love almost underground country music, if you will. I like the ones that are almost your indie country guys that are like, they're so close to making it. And I think it's because I honestly correspond with them a little bit on my level. I'm so close. Like, I know I'm so close. Absolutely. And whether somebody believes that or not is, who cares? It's what I believe.
It's irrelevant. Yeah, absolutely.
It's irrelevant, right? I love specific reality television. I like competition reality TV. I don't like just reality TV for the sake of it. Like, I don't care. Like, I need somebody to win. I like challenges. That's why the challenge was so big for me.
Right.
I love the beach. It's just relaxing. That's why Outer Banks is the most relaxing place on earth. It genuinely is paradise on earth. I love TV shows. Am I more TV shows than movies? Oh, I don't know. I could probably go back and forth, just because like TV shows, obviously you get more details because they go longer.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with like watching Roadhouse. Like, Roadhouse is my favorite movie of all time.
I love it.
It's Roadhouse, Varsity Blues, Son-in-Law, Ready to Rumble,
love
Sweet
every
Home
one
Alabama.
of those. Okay, you lost me there, but God bless. Little Reese Witherspoon never hurt anybody.
I'm a hopeless romantic. What can I say? It's why you think I like the Macho Man. He loves Mr. Elizabeth.
Fair enough.
Yeah, outside of, and I'm taking working out, nutrition out of it. I do love that stuff, but like that corresponds with wrestling. But those are like some things that I genuinely love to do, just from a personal standpoint. It's stuff that me and Cheyenne, where she'll have her different flavors. Like, when you go to the weekends, especially starting like Thursday nights all the way through to Mondays, we're pretty much together. So and it's in a car, at home, in a car, at home, in a car, at home. There is no so we have learned to, I actually love, whether she knows it or not, I actually love when she tells me something she finds that she loves, and seeing if I like it too. And a lot of times it doesn't. I was raised by some very loving parents. So like, if you couldn't tell by my taste in music and movies and everything else. So, a lot of times I'm an older soul, if you will, but we still try it. I like trying new things. I like being in uncomfortable situations. I like making things that are supposed to be scary, unscary, if you will.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that, man. I really, like I said, that's like my favorite question to ask everyone, because I feel like it really, it gets behind the character, it gets to the person, and no question kind of epitomizes that as much as this last one that I'm going to throw at you. And that is, obviously, you're a young guy. You're right there on the precipice, it feels like. At this stage, not only of your career, but of life in general, what is success? How do you define success at this point?
We'll start with the key to success, I always say, is failure. I heard that very young age. I think that's the truest statement ever. I've written it in a lot of those Roughhouse books, especially to younger children. I say children, even young teens, older teens, young adults, people that are in hard, quote unquote, in the position to be in hard times, that haven't had the luxuries or, and I don't know their backgrounds, but I write that in books. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's something that when I get told no, I've been told no by I've wrestled for every major organization in the United States. All of them in some way, shape, or form have told me no because they didn't sign me.
Right.
So I take that as a no. So, okay, I can look at it as a failure, which it is, but in the long run, it won't be. I think how I define success has always been measured by the ability to capitalize on an opportunity. It's something that I feel I've done very well. Whether they've came out to yeses and nos, we can take that out. But at 18 years old, I wrestled for the WWE. I wrestled against the Viking Raiders on SmackDown. I was the semi-main event, and right at the Bond, I forget what it's called, the Bond
Secures Wellness Center. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. I did, in the week prior, I did my first set of extra work for WWE at the previous SmackDown. I was a security guard. The next night, I wrestled Jimmy Jacobs, an indie darling. Obviously has been in AEW and Ring of Honor, TNA. And I felt like I still put my best foot forward in all three of those opportunities. And then about 6 months later or so, I was at AEW Dark for a handful of times. Nothing but great things there. I wrestled for NWA, not only in 2023, but then at the end, that was 2023 as well. Yeah. So pretty much like I did 4 shots for NWA in 2023, Salem, I did Tampa, I did Nashville, and maybe it was Nashville again, if I remember right, just through tapings and whatnot. And I actually got to, we were doing a dark match. It was a lighting test for NWA with one of my good friends, Alexander Lev. It was myself and Adrian Thomas versus Alexander Lev of NWA now and Jackson Drake, Evolve Champion. And, I had brain bustered Alexander Lev and got a win. It wasn't supposed to air, but on my birthday, it aired.
Oh, wow.
Funny enough. Right. So I had my first televised win for a national wrestling company. Funny enough, the National Wrestling Alliance. To me, that's a success. It's just, it grows. I think it's just capitalizing on the opportunity because everybody wants money. Everybody wants TV time. Everybody wants, some people are looking for hot girls or hot guys, depending, right. To whom's their own.
I love it.
Yeah. We all look at it differently. I just think that because to me, it's the feeling. It's not the physical thing. It's not the fame, the fortune, as much as Hollywood. That's the key difference between Hollywood Hunter James and Hunter James the person is that to me, Hunter James the person wants the feeling. He wants to go back through the curtain and go, "Whew, I killed that," or do I come back through the curtain and go, "Man, that match had so much potential, and I did this, or he did that, or we, more importantly, didn't execute." It's really the feeling for me where Hollywood Hunter James would want the money, the fame, the success, this, that, and the other. To me, it's really just the feeling of capitalizing on an opportunity and making the most out of the least bit possible. When having 6 minutes for NWA and making the most out of it, getting the win is cool. It's even cooler when you're like, oh my God, there it is. It's on TV. like win, lose, or draw. Like it's on TV. I remember telling my grandma after a SmackDown match, I said, I promise you, I'm going to get a win on TV because to her, wins matter the most.
Right.
Like in my family, she's like, the wins matter the most. I said, you are going to see me win on TV soon. And
that's awesome.
She saw me versus when we go to the Viking Raiders match, it was 3 minutes tops. Right. And I was legal the whole time in a tag match, meaning I got to sell the whole time and I got to bump the whole time. So my job that night was to be the best bumper and seller there was, and Triple H heavily complimented me for that. It was the first night he was in charge. So, and I had the very nice fortune of Gregory Helms letting me, he was like, "Hey, did you say thank you?" And I was like, "No, can I?" And he goes, "Yeah, come with me." And he was like, made me sit outside a gorilla, and then he's like, "Hey, just come on." And I understand why they wear suits in there, by the way. It's the coldest room I've ever been in my life. The feeling is how I gauge success, though.
Love it. I love that answer. That's a different one than I've heard before, and I've heard a lot of different answers. So kudos to you for that. Hunter, I just want to tell you, man, this has been a freaking blast. Hopefully this is the first of many appearances.
Please.
Tell people where they can find you, you know, like you said, the book, your socials, upcoming shows, whatever you want to plug, my man. Now is the time.
Sounds good. I am Hollywood_HJ_ on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, anything attached to those. TikTok is she loves Hunter J, because, well, everybody knows that she loves Hunter J. That one's been it for years. It was even long before Cheyenne, so it's even funnier now. I have a YouTube channel. I usually post my weekly matches there. Soon there will be more content, especially now that I bought a handy dandy couple microphones today, so we'll see what happens with those. I'm trying to think. We just did Deep South Wrestling this weekend. I know this episode won't come out for a little while, but we'll be follow Viral Pro Wrestling, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Southern Honor Wrestling, Squared Circle Action Wrestling. Trying to hit the big ones, right? Coastal Empire Wrestling. A Scrappy Championship Wrestling's a fun one on the weekends on a Sunday afternoon, right after church, right before dinner. I think and then if I haven't said Deep South Wrestling as well. You know, follow them. You'll get their dates. I'm not sure when this will drop. Rough House is available on Amazon. It's available at the merch table. It's available at anywhere books are sold. A Father, a Son, and the Pursuit of Pro Wrestling Glory is the name. I think that is it. ProWrestlingTees.com for t-shirts. If you're nowhere near me, please go buy one, because I usually rip off old school wrestlers and make them my own. So go figure. You know, there's a if you can figure out, if you tell me where the inspiration came from, I'll mail you a shirt myself.
Hey, there you go. I love it.
I'll do it. Yep.
I love it. Well, like I said, Hunter, this has been a lot of fun. Guys, make sure you go support them. We're going to link everything, you know, down in the description of the YouTube video and of the podcast. If you can't support monetarily, just shoot them a follow, a subscribe on YouTube. You know, those are always free and appreciated.
Please.
If you have the means, go grab yourself a book, go grab yourself a t-shirt. Just make sure you're checking out Hollywood Hunter James, because I think there's some big things on the horizon. And let's not forget to give a plug to Miss Cheyenne Michaels. Go follow her as well, because you can't have the beast without the beauty, right?
Absolutely. Can't have Macho without Liz. Can't have Punk without AJ. So on and so forth.
There it is. Well, guys, like I said, make sure to go support Hunter wherever you can, whether it be monetarily or not. And don't forget, most importantly, guys, call your mom.
If you haven't liked or subscribed, you're going to be joking me.